Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are strapping ourselves in, really. We're diving into someone who's built a whole career, maybe even an empire, out of, well, chaos, controlled chaos, perhaps.
That's a great way to put it. We're talking about Philip John Clapp.
Yeah,
You almost certainly know him as Johnny Knoxville.
right, Johnny Knoxville. And our mission today, looking through all this source material, is to figure out how this guy went from, filming himself getting tased for a skateboarding magazine to becoming this multimedia force, a producer, a writer, a legitimate actor, running production companies.
It's a fascinating trajectory because the sources really lay out this paradox. You've got the on-screen persona, pure jackass mayhem, right?
Yeah.
But behind that, there's this incredibly sharp business mind.
Exactly. That's what we want to unpack. How did the architect of all that physical failure build such a lasting structure in Hollywood?
And the source material is pretty clear on his identity. We're talking Philip John Clapp, born March 11, 1971. He's from Knoxville, Tennessee, hence the name, I guess.
Makes sense.
And that means, as of today, October 2nd, 2025, he's 54 years old.
54. And that age feels significant now, doesn't it? Especially when you look at some of his more recent ventures.
Absolutely. It perhaps signals a shift, or at least an expansion beyond just the stunts.
Ah.
But his core identity, the one everyone knows, is co-creator and star of Jackass. Started on MTV, 2000-2001, then the movies. Jackass, the movie, #2, 3D, forever in 2022. He's a stunt performer, actor, producer, screenwriter, quite the list.
Quite the list indeed. Okay, so let's go back. Where does this all start? Knoxville, Tennessee, you said. What were his origins like? Anything that hinted at?
Well, Jackass.
Honestly, not really. Not in the way you might think. The sources paint a picture of a pretty normal Southern upbringing. His dad, Philip Clapp, was a car and tire salesman, passed away in 2018.
Okay.
His mom, Lemoyne, she was a Sunday school teacher. She passed in 2017. He also has 2 older sisters. It sounds very stable.
Stable isn't the first word that comes to mind with Johnny Knoxville. So where did the performance bug come from? The desire to, put himself out there? Well, the sources point to a specific influence, and it's a bit unexpected. It was his cousin, Roger Allen Wade.
Oh, the singer-songwriter.
That's the one. Apparently, Wade gave him a copy of Jack Kerouac's On the Road. And Knoxville himself credits that book, that Beat Generation classic, with sparking his interest in acting and exploring and maybe doing something different.
On the road leading to Jackass. That's quite a connection. Okay, so he gets the acting bug. What happens next? High school.
Yeah, attended South Young High School. And get this, he was actually athletic, played baseball.
No kidding.
Yep, he was a pitcher, got an all-Knoxville Interscholastic League honorable mention, even played in an all-star game. So there was structure there. Discipline, maybe.
Huh, pitcher. Interesting. Then California.
That was the dream. Right after high school, 1989, he heads west to make it as an actor. Did the whole struggling actor thing, commercials, background roles, you know the drill.
Standard Hollywood story so far.
But here's a great little nugget from the sources. In 1992, he actually worked on Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Wow, Coppola, what did he do?
He was Keanu Reeves' stand-in.
Keanu stand-in, that's amazing. So he's on these big sets, he's in the mix, but the big acting roles aren't landing.
Seems that way. The sources suggest that the traditional path just wasn't opening up for him. And this is the critical moment, the pivot.
Right, this is where it shifts.
Instead of waiting for someone else to give him a shot, he decides, okay, I'll create my own shot. He starts writing article ideas and pitching them to magazines, basically creating his own content.
Smart. Proactive. What kind of ideas?
Well, the one that stuck, the one that changed everything, was pretty out there. He pitched the idea of testing self-defense equipment on himself.
On himself, like stun guns, pepper spray.
Exactly,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And this idea, this absolutely bonkers idea, lands on the desk of Jeff Tremaine.
Who was editing Big Brother magazine at the time, the skateboarding mag?
Precisely. And Big Brother had this edgy counterculture vibe. Tremaine loved it. He didn't just want the article. He wanted to film these tests.
Ah, so the filming starts there.
Yes. Those stunts, Knoxville willingly taking hits from self-defense gear, were filmed and put into the Big Brother #2 video. That footage, that's the bedrock, the absolute foundation stone for what became Jackass.
So it all spirals out of that one magazine pitch. Incredible. But it wasn't just Knoxville stuff, right? There was another element involved in creating the Jackass pilot.
Correct. Tremaine was smart. He saw the potential in Knoxville's self-abuse footage, but he also knew about another sort of homegrown phenomenon happening on the East Coast.
You're talking about Bam Margera.
Exactly. Bam Margera and his crew in Pennsylvania were making these lo-fi chaotic videos called the CKY videos. Camp Kill Yourself.
Right, lots of skating, pranks, hitting his dad,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, that mix of stunts, family pranks, just general mayhem.
Yeah.
Tremaine saw a kinship between Knoxville stuff and the CKY videos. He brought them together, edited this footage into a pilot.
And that became the pitch reel.
That was the pitch reel. He took Knoxville's Big Brother segments, Bam's CKY footage, added some other like-minded individuals, and that was the package.
And they needed someone to help sell it, right? That's
Yeah.
where Spike Jonze comes in.
Yeah, Spike Jonze, the director, was friends with Tremaine. He had the Hollywood connections. He helped them shop this very unconventional pilot around.
And MTV bit.
MTV bit hard. It was exactly the kind of provocative, youth-oriented content they were looking for around the year 2000. But here's where it gets really interesting from a strategy perspective.
Okay.
Before the show even aired on MTV, they got another offer, a huge one.
Which was?
Saturday Night Live. SNL wanted them to perform stunts as a recurring weekly segment on the show.
Wow. SNL, that's the big leagues for comedy. Did they do it?
They turned it down.
They turned down SNL. Why?
Think about it. SNL means network standards, restrictions, oversight. Jackass was built on total freedom, on pushing boundaries way past what network TV would allow.
Ah, I see. They knew their brand needed that raw, unfiltered edge.
Exactly. They chose creative control and authenticity over the immediate mainstream prestige of SNL, which, in hindsight, was probably a genius move for building the Jackass identity.
Absolutely. Keep it pure. Though, ironically, Knoxville did end up hosting SNL later, right,
No.
in 2005.
He did, but on his own terms, as an established star, not as a weekly stunt segment. It shows he could play the game eventually, but he protected the core brand first.
Smart. Okay, so the MTV show is a hit, albeit short-lived. Then comes the movie empire.
Yeah, the films really cemented the phenomena, Jackass. The movie in 2002 was massive. The number 2 in 2006, 3D in 2010. They kept finding ways to escalate the stunts and keep audiences hooked.
And Forever in 2022, which felt like maybe a passing of the torch, but still very much centered on him.
Right, but it wasn't just about stringing stunts together, especially later on. There was an evolution.
You mean with Irving Zisman, the old man character?
Precisely. The sources really highlight Jackass' presence. Bad Grandpa in 2013. That was different. It wasn't just stunts, it had a narrative. Knoxville, buried under incredible makeup, played Irving on a road trip with his grandson. The pranks happened within that story framework.
And that movie was huge, right? It reached a broader audience.
It did. And here's maybe the most unexpected validation of the whole thing. Bad Grandpa got an Academy Award nomination.
An Oscar nomination for Jackass.
For Best Makeup and Hairstyling. But still, an Oscar nod for a movie featuring hidden camera pranks and, well, some very questionable behavior from Irving Zisman.
That's incredible. It speaks volumes about the technical skill involved underneath the chaos.
Totally. It showed they weren't just messing around. There was real craft there, especially in creating that character. It solidified Knoxville as not just a stunt guy, but a character actor, a producer overseeing quality.
And beyond the main films, there were the .5 releases like Jackass 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, using leftover footage, keeping the brand alive between major installments, plus other stuff like the Gumball 3000 rally participation.
Yeah, he stayed very involved in that world. But here's the other track we need to follow. The one running parallel to Jackass the whole time.
His legitimate acting career.
Exactly. And this wasn't just an afterthought. He was pursuing serious roles right from the start, almost immediately after the first Jackass movie exploded.
Like Men in Black 2 in 2002. He played that two-headed alien, Scrad and Charlie. That was a massive blockbuster.
Huge. Going from MTV cult figure to a role in a Will Smith sequel, that's fast. Then in 2004, he's co-starring with The Rock in Walking Tall.
Okay, so big studio action films. But he didn't just stick to blockbusters, did he?
No, and this shows his range, or at least his ambition. He worked with the legendary cult director John Waters in 2004 on A Dirty Shame. That's a very different world from Men in Black.
Definitely. John Waters is unique. And then 2005 was a big year for him acting-wise, too, wasn't it?
Huge. He played Luke Duke in the Dukes of Hazzard movie. Pure mainstream comedy fare.
Right. The orange car, the whole thing.
But in the same year, he starred in The Ringer.
Mm.
And that was a very different kind of movie.
The Ringer. Okay, refresh my memory on that one. That was the one with the controversial premise?
Extremely controversial. He plays Steve Barker, this regular guy who pretends to have an intellectual disability.
Yeah.
He calls himself Jeffy, so he can compete in the Special Olympics.
Oh, right. To win money to help his friend, I think.
Yeah, to pay for surgery for the office janitor who lost his fingers. It's a really dark, tricky premise. trying to mine comedy and heart out of something that could easily be incredibly offensive.
It takes some serious acting chops to even attempt, let alone pull off without disaster.
It really does. It showed he was willing to tackle complex, risky roles, not just play variations of himself or do straightforward action. He also had a cool cameo as a sleazy corporate type in Lords of Dogtown that same year.
So he's building this diverse acting resume. Did that continue?
Absolutely. He kept working steadily. Popped up in The Last Stand with Schwarzenegger in 2013, co-starred with Jackie Chan in Skip Trace in 2016. Not always lead roles, but consistent work in major films.
And more recently, he did TV series work too, right?
Yes, significantly. He was part of the main cast of that Hulu show Reboot in 2022. Played Clay Barber, a comedian trying to get his career back on track. A sustained role in a well-regarded series that shows real commitment to acting as a long-term path.
So acting on screen, check. What about just using his voice? He has a pretty distinctive voice.
He does, that gravelly tone.
Yeah.
And he definitely leveraged it. The biggest voice role the sources highlight is Leonardo in the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Leo, the leader. That's a big get.
It was. Interestingly, he didn't return for the sequel. Pete Plotchek, who did the motion capture, took over the voice too. But getting cast initially was major.
Any other voice work?
Yeah, dipping into animation. He voiced Johnny Krill in Extreme Sports Fish, on SpongeBob SquarePants, and later other character, Randy Cheeks.
Ah, Johnny Krill. Perfect.
Right. He also did voices for Family Guy and, maybe less surprisingly, given his southern roots, a couple of characters on King of the Hill, Peter Sterling, and White Platter.
Okay, so stuntman, actor, voice actor. But the sources really emphasize the behind-the-scenes stuff, too. The producing.
This is where the business acumen really shines. It starts with Dick House Productions.
Dick House. Gotta love the name. That was him, Tremaine, and Spike Jonze.
That's the trio. And Dick House wasn't just the entity that produced the Jackass movies. They had bigger ambitions.
Like documentaries.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They produced The Birth of Big Air, about BMX legend Matt Hoffman. That film was actually part of ESPN's prestigious 30 for 30 documentary series.
Wow, okay. That's serious credibility.
It is. And they also did The Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia, another documentary exploring a very specific subculture. Both got distribution through Tribeca Films. So they were using their platform to tell other kinds of stories, not just their own.
Using the Jackass clout to get more serious projects made. Smart. But then there was another shift on the production side.
Yes. After the huge success of Bad Grandpa in 2013, which showed this new narrative potential, Knoxville made a big move in 2014. He formed a new company called Hello Jr.
Hello, Junior. Okay, who was involved in that?
This one was with Derek Freda, who was an executive producer on Jackass. And the key thing about Hello Jr., the thing that really signals Knoxville's status in the industry.
Let me guess. A studio deal.
Bingo. They immediately signed an exclusive 2-year first-look deal with Paramount Pictures.
Okay, break that down. What does a first-look deal actually mean in practice?
It means Paramount paid Hello Jr. a chunk of money up front. In return, Paramount gets the first right to see, finance, and distribute any movie or TV show idea that Knoxville and Freda develop through that company.
So Paramount is basically betting on him, on his ideas, before they even exist.
Precisely. They're saying, we believe in your taste, your ability to generate successful projects, and we want first dibs. It's a huge vote of confidence. It locks him in as a key creative partner for the studio, especially for their comedy slate.
That really elevates him beyond just being the Jackass guy. He's a player, a content generator the studio wants to keep close.
Absolutely. And his quote at the time was perfect. Knoxville, something like, I'm over the damn moon. I have many more films to make and bones to break. I'm glad I will be doing it for Paramount.
Bones to break for Paramount. That sums up the paradox perfectly. The chaos brand meets corporate partnership.
It's brilliant self-awareness, really. Okay, so he's got the acting, the producing, but he didn't entirely leave the world of physical performance and spectacle behind, did he? No, definitely not. Which brings us to professional wrestling.
Yes. His involvement with WWE wasn't just a one-off appearance. It was actually quite extensive, especially in 2022.
I remember hearing about this. It started earlier, though, right?
Yeah. The sources mention a debut way back in 2008 on Raw, having a little run-in with the great Khali, and another guest spot in 2010. But the main event, so to speak, was 2022.
What happened then?
It kicked off around the Day 1 pay-per-view. He announced he was entering the Royal Rumble match.
The actual Royal Rumble, not just commentary or something.
No, as a competitor. He entered at number 9, And almost immediately, he got into it with Sami Zayn, one of WWE's top stars at the time.
Okay, classic wrestling storyline.
Yeah.
Established wrestler versus invading celebrity.
Exactly. Zayn eliminated him pretty quickly, which just fueled the fire. Knoxville then started showing up on SmackDown repeatedly, just tormenting Zayn, costing him matches, playing pranks. Classic Jackass tactics in a WWE ring.
So he brought the Jackass vibe to wrestling. Totally. He even challenged Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship at one point. Zayn refused, naturally, building the heat.
So how did it culminate?
Knoxville eventually cost Zayn the Intercontinental title by distracting him during a match against Ricochet. That led Zayn to finally snap and challenge Knoxville to a match at WrestleMania.
WrestleMania, the biggest show of the year. What kind of match?
An anything goes match.
Whoa.
Perfect for Knoxville. Weapons, stunts, chaos. It was right up his alley.
And did he?
He won. At WrestleMania 38, Night 2, Johnny Knoxville pinned Sami Zayn.
He actually won at WrestleMania.
Awful lot of help from his friends. The sources say Chris Pontius, Wee Man, Jeff Tremaine, even Jasper Dolphin and Dark Shark from the newer crew all got involved. They used giant mousetraps, bowling balls, air horns.
It was pure Jackass meets WWE.
That's incredible. A perfect crossover. Talk about understanding your brand and how to leverage it.
It really was. And it shows his willingness to keep trying new platforms, new forms of performance, which also connects to his most recent venture mentioned in the sources.
Podcasting. Yep. In April 2024, he launched a podcast called Pretty Sure I Can Fly with Johnny Knoxville and Elna Baker.
Interesting. Moving into audio storytelling seems safer.
You'd think so. But safety is relative when your other projects still involve pranks. And that leads us to some of the legal issues that have popped up more recently.
Ah, right. The prank panel show. That's generated some controversy, hasn't it?
It has. And the sources detail a couple of specific lawsuits. It highlights a key difference from the old Jackass days.
Which is?
Consent, essentially. In Jackass, the core members knew what they signed up for, waivers and all. The danger was mostly internal. The prank panel seems to involve pranking unsuspecting members of the public.
Okay, yeah, that's a different ethical and legal landscape. What were the lawsuits about?
The first one mentioned is from December 2022. A handyman, hired through TaskRabbit, sued Knoxville in the show. He claimed he was put through a terrifying ordeal as part of a prank filmed for the show.
So, alleging real emotional distress from being the butt of the joke without consent?
Exactly. The second lawsuit is more recent, May 2024. This time, it was allegedly a segment producer on the show suing Knoxville.
A producer? What was the claim?
The allegation was that Knoxville tased him during the filming of the show.
Tased. A producer. Okay, that's blurring lines even within the production.
It definitely raises questions about workplace safety and the inherent risks when your whole premise is built on surprise and sometimes simulated violence or shock.
Yeah.
It shows the potential downsides, the legal blowback, when the chaos spills over onto people who maybe didn't fully sign up for that level of involvement.
Right. The cost can be more than just physical injury. It can be legal fees and reputational hits. Which brings us to the personal costs, the physical toll this career has taken on him. We touched on the injuries, but let's talk about his personal life, too.
Yeah, the sources give us some insight there. He's had 2 long-term marriages. First was to Melanie Lynn Cates. They married in 1995.
Okay.
They had a daughter together, born in 96. She actually popped up in the credits of Jackass #2 in 3D, which is kind of sweet.
Ah, that is nice. How long were they married?
They divorced around 2008, finalized in 2009. The sources note there was a child support agreement, $6,000 a month.
Okay. Did he remarry?
Yes, in 2010, he married Naomi Nelson. They had 2 more children, a son born in late 2009 and another daughter in 2011.
So 3 kids altogether. Was the second marriage still going?
He filed for divorce from Naomi Nelson in June 2022, and the sources say it was finalized in 2024. So 2 significant marriages, both lasting over a decade. It suggests a desire for stability in his personal life, even amidst the professional chaos.
It really does. A family man behind the mayhem. But that mayhem definitely took its toll physically. We know about broken bones, concussions, but the sources mention one injury in particular that sounds uniquely horrific.
Ah, yes. This is probably the most extreme example of the physical price he paid. It stems from a stunt he did for a tribute to Evil Knievel, Jackass presence, Matt Hoffman's tribute to Evil Knievel.
Okay, what happened? It wasn't a bone break, was it?
No. He tore his urethra.
Oh, sorry, it tore his urethra. A tube inside.
Right.
Yes. Medically speaking, a severe injury to the urinary tract. Extremely painful, obviously, and complicates, Well, basic bodily functions.
I can't even imagine. How do you even recover from something like that?
Well, the recovery detailed in the sources is intense.
Yeah.
It involved a procedure called urinary catheterization, but not just in the hospital.
What do you mean?
He had to perform it on himself twice a day.
Wait, he had to insert a catheter tube into his own penis up to his bladder himself.
That's what the sources state he described. He had to do this self-catheterization twice daily. The reason was crucial, to prevent scar tissue from forming and potentially blocking the urethra permanently.
My God, that's beyond a stunt injury. That's long-term invasive medical self-management. How long did he have to do this for?
This is the truly staggering part. According to the source material where he discussed it, he had to do this procedure on himself twice a day for 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
3.5 years.
That reframes everything, doesn't it? That level of hidden, painful, disciplined commitment required just to function normally after one stunt.
Yeah.
It's not just about being reckless. It's about enduring the consequences with this almost unbelievable level of fortitude.
Exactly. It moves Jackass from just guys hurting themselves for laughs to something deeper. It highlights an extraordinary level of dedication, not just to the stunt itself, but to the incredibly difficult long-term recovery. That's not anarchy, that's resilience. That's professionalism in a very strange, painful way.
Wow. Okay. So pulling all these threads together, the stunts, the acting, the producing, the wrestling, the injuries, the business deals, what's the final picture? What does this deep dive tell us about Johnny Knoxville?
I think the key takeaway is that he's fundamentally a creator who refused to be pigeonholed. When Plan A traditional acting didn't work, he didn't quit. He created Plan B. He literally invented his own path by turning self-destruction into content.
And that content became the foundation for everything else. Dick House Productions, Hello Junior, the Paramount deal. He leveraged the chaos into real Hollywood power.
Absolutely. He built a production house, maintained a parallel acting career, playing diverse roles from aliens to Oscar bait parts like The Winger, even conquered WrestleMania. He managed his brand across decades and different media.
It all comes back to that central paradox, doesn't it? The wild man on screen, the shrewd businessman off screen, the guy getting gored by bulls who also negotiates first look deals.
Precisely. And we've seen the immense physical cost that urethra injury requiring years of self-care is just mind-blowing. And the potential legal costs, as seen with the prank panel, when the tranks affect non-consenting parties.
So now he's 54, he's podcasting, he's producing, still acting. Seems like maybe a slight shift towards less physically demanding work, maybe.
It seems that way. Which leads us to the final thought, the question for you, the listener, to consider.
Okay, what's that?
The Jackass brand is still incredibly potent. But Knoxville himself, the man, Philip John Clapp, is evolving. He's building this legacy as a producer, an actor, a businessman. How long can the commercial appeal of the Jackass chaos really sustain itself if the central figure is increasingly moving towards safer, more behind-the-scenes roles?
That's a great question. What endures more strongly in the end? Is it the image of the fearless, often injured stunt performer? Or is it the legacy of the savvy creator and producer who built an empire out of it, the guy who signed the Paramount deal?
Will the producer ultimately overshadow the performer, especially given the incredible hidden price that performance demanded? What will define Johnny Knoxville 50 years from now? The stunts or the studio deals?
Something to definitely think about. The architect of controlled chaos, indeed. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
We'll catch you on the next one.